Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today I'm super excited to be joined by Nancy Nash, coach and founder of Starfish Strength. Nancy, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So, with all of my guests, Nancy, I do actually like to start at the beginning of the journey, so maybe I'll get some context moving forward from there.
Sure.
So, walk me through. What was it that you was doing before you started up Starfish Strength? And then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
So I was actually a personal trainer in a gym, and during the pandemic, like a lot of people, I got laid off. That did provide a lot of opportunities, but I think for me, I was about to turn 40 and I was really feeling like I was in a state of flux. And then I will say on the other side of things, I had also just planned a reunion. I'm a participant of the MIT Global Entrepreneurship Boot Camps, and they ran these for years and years, different iterations around the world. So I just planned a reunion for that group, and we had done that. So I was, okay, so what am I going to do now? So two things. Yeah, I wound up starting Starfish Strength, which is, it's mindset coaching for sure, but definitely very physically oriented. So it's an extension of what I was doing as a personal trainer on a greater scope, because I have a YouTube channel as well. But I also, with one of my friends from that group, we started Founders Voyage, which I thought it was too funny that somehow the stars have aligned, I think, for us meeting for this.
Yeah.
So we highlight founders from around the world. We do topical conversations, but it really started as a lot of us trying to figure out, like, what were all these transitions in our businesses happening that were unprecedented, and what were so many founders going to do next with the lockdown.
Yeah. I love that, because it was such a serious problem for a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of founders.
Yeah.
That basically, a lot of them just started their own business and they had to shut the doors a couple months later. It was such a big transition.
Or just completely pivot.
Yeah, such a big transition for people, and such an important time for a lot of people starting up new business as well. I think it was the online space, especially the coaching world, really just exploded from the inside out. So let's dive into those two ventures even more. So we have Starfish Strength and then obviously Founders Voyage. So walk me through, like, at this point, who would you say is your ideal customer? Like, who do you generally love to work with the most? And then from there, how is you help them and how do you support them along that journey?
Sure. Yeah, for Starfish Strength, it's a couple different things. So I do still do personal training one-on-one over Zoom. So it's all virtual now.
Nice.
But I also, in trying to grow my online presence, am looking for people that kind of feel more intimidated by the gym environment that I was in, that are just looking for a way to start their journey. I have videos on nutrition and I have videos on exercise, and just trying to provide a variety of things so that people will find that more approachable and want to start that journey of building healthy habits. And then for Founders Voyage, I think we really, outside of just, founders and people that see themselves as entrepreneurs, we're really looking for curious learners. And we've definitely highlighted some people that have not started their own business, but just been through some major life transitions too, that have, maybe they're more an entrepreneur in larger companies, and just trying to show that whole scope of what that entrepreneurial mindset can be.
I love that. Entrepreneur is such a great word as well. As you say, like, obviously I have that mindset and that ambition or maybe power to become an entrepreneur, but using it in a different way. And is there obviously a form of one-to-one coaching that comes alongside that as well, helping them with that mindset through transitions and just through life in general sometimes?
For that, we really haven't started coaching, but we do have a lot of intramural, like, referrals for mentorship. And that honestly is like the most rewarding metric, I think, for that, because just introducing people that wouldn't necessarily be able to meet otherwise, especially from different parts of the world, has been really awesome.
Yeah, I love that. That's really cool. And as you say, thinking that like a community, other people in the same space, and just meeting other people in that ecosystem. Really nice.
Absolutely.
So let's dive into like Starfish coaching a little bit more then. So one-to-one level of coaching. So walk me through that. How do you go about acquiring your customers at the moment? Like, what channels, what methods are you really finding most effective in doing so?
Sure. I'll be honest that I haven't been actively looking for new leads lately. I'm actually 30 weeks pregnant and my
Wow.
husband's going through chemotherapy. So a little
Wow.
bit of a
A lot.
transition in life. But yeah, prior to that, I've run some printed ads, but I would say it's more effective to find people through short videos. It's really interesting how long and short format are so different. I do feel like I've grown audience engagement with my longer videos, but like the short ones are the ones that people really do find that resonate with them. And then, like, honestly, getting your clients to refer other clients is always
Yeah.
the best.
Beautiful. A referral is such nice. The only
Mm-hmm.
problem with the referrals, obviously, is they're not consistent enough to have a calendar full of referrals. But I
Yeah.
think everyone would ideally love that moving forward.
Well,
But I agree.
yeah,
Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. No, no,
Oh,
go
no, I
ahead.
was going to say there was a time when I very concretely was looking for more leads. And so I was offering my current clients free sessions. But I think I've really come to the fact that if people really feel that you're truly invested in them and they believe in you as a brand, don't even need to offer that. I think, yeah. But yeah, I've definitely gotten some good referrals.
That's beautiful. And as you say, like offering your service free, it doesn't need to do that. People will happily pay if they know that the service they're actually getting is provided. It's not always about just because they don't believe in the price. It's just believing in yourself as a person, is that's who they trust and that's who they want to
Yeah.
work with. I love it. Yeah, as I say, it's just they're not can't always be as consistent as we liked. And then
Yeah.
obviously you mentioned they're growing your like you're kind of in the space of growing your online brand and really getting yourself out there. How are you?
Mm-hmm.
What channels and what methods are you really enjoying in that aspect? Because I do love the short-term content as well, which I think Instagram really sings for in
Yeah.
this industry.
It is interesting though. I will say social media platforms are so different from one another. So I think
Yeah.
YouTube is probably my favorite just because I have more options for posting short and long form. And
Mm.
I do feel like you get an opportunity to bring in different audiences because I do feel like Instagram and TikTok, like they really want not just that you're limited to the 90 seconds, and it's 3 minutes now on TikTok, but I still do 90 seconds for them. But the person who's viewing it is really just scrolling. And it's a little bit different. They're probably going to spend less time with you. And I really do feel like it's about making people feel something that they haven't felt before. Even when I'm just going through exercise form, oh, this is how this is supposed to work in my body. I get it
Mm.
now. Now I can squat heavier. So it's very different to know that people are like watching a second and being like, I don't like her face, rather than thinking about what they're hearing.
That's so true. And that's usually their first thought, yeah, I don't like her face, let's move on to the next one. But and also to
Which
back
I'm
up.
okay with.
Yeah, yeah. And also, you can't help it. Unfortunately, you don't know who's doing it, so we can't just
Right.
go and
Yeah.
turn up at their house. But the other great thing as well, just to back up what you said with like YouTube, I feel like if someone is investing more than 90 seconds of their time in you, then they're
Mm-hmm.
already halfway through that process of like liking you, knowing you, building that no
Mm-hmm.
trust factor with a stranger. So
Yeah.
definitely so YouTube is long form content. I definitely on its way back. And yeah, that one, but that's really cool. And then, so as well, Natty, do you have a team as well on the back end of things that are helping you out with stuff like social media marketing and even the sales side of things, or do you run all that yourself?
So at this point, I'm just doing that on my own. Yeah. So
Yeah,
there are definitely advantages and disadvantages to that. One of the disadvantages definitely is time and energy. But
yeah,
one of the advantages too is that like your brand really feels the way you want it to feel.
true. It's really true. And you're in full control with that moving forward. It is just the time you
Mm-hmm.
spend doing what jobs that you can. Then obviously another situation rumped into that being pregnant just helps
Yeah.
throw that time completely out of the window.
Yeah,
So what do
that's
we do with
okay. This is life, right? No one planned for a pandemic, and
so
that
true.
birthed my business. So it's hard to complain
Time.
about timing of those things.
Yeah, so true. And then when you think about the future of the business, so like the next 6 to 12 next year in advance, where do you see yourself taking it with it? Do you have a plan or a goal or like a vision in mind that you think of when you're looking to the future?
Yeah, to a point, I had experimented with offering some live classes. So I would like to be able to do that again. And then also being pregnant, I'm doing a certification for prenatal and postnatal exercise.
Nice.
So I'm going to introduce some of those videos in the next couple months as well. And I started telling the story of my fertility story, and I have some videos on there too that are maybe seem like a little bit outside the wheelhouse. But what I have come to is the biggest things that really hold us back are really outside of the professional window. So things like grief, like big life setbacks. I
Yeah.
have made a couple videos on that topic. So I will probably be making some more of those as well, because the more that people feel that you kind of get where they're at, they're willing to take that leap with you, that you might understand how to help them solve other problems. So
So true. I love that.
yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I keep saying this, but I would really like to open a store with merchandise too, because I started out a career long ago in photography and graphic design. So I'm looking forward to bringing that part back in. And I don't know that I'm ready to do this yet, but I would like to have some kind of like an evergreen exercise program for people. That's more of like a plug and play type thing.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to continue to tackle that mental emotional component of it, because I do feel like that is missing in the industry and not really what people think of when they think of personal training.
So true, but it's such a big part of it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know for myself and my like fitness journey, mental health has a lot to do with it. It was one of the
Mm-hmm.
reasons I started going to the gym. It's one of the reasons I still go to the gym today. My body is
Absolutely.
just a bypass product of that. So highlighting that is such a great way to do it. And even
Mm-hmm.
what you said a moment ago, putting yourself out there online, your struggles, what you emotionally have to deal with, and things that you've gone through in your past can only help people resonate with you to work and trust you in the future. So it's so nice that you're willing to do that and just be a support to people if they need that moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's overlap, right? You still want to stay within your scope of practice,
Yeah.
but there's definitely overlap. And sometimes the reason that people stop working out is really has nothing to do with their physical ability. So being able to address that is important.
Yeah, so true. And I suppose, Nancy, like, where are you finding the biggest challenges for yourself in taking that next step in the business? Getting like the online store set up, which sounds awesome as well, and just building those online programs. Like, what is that big challenge for you?
Yeah, I think time, energy, and then making sure that there's an appropriate audience for each one of those components. That is definitely, I feel like I've seen people open a store too early, and that has worked out for them sometimes, but sometimes you just wind up sinking all this time and energy into something that you haven't really built an audience for yet.
Yeah,
So I am a little cautious on that, sometimes a little too cautious. But yeah, so just trying to evaluate all those factors.
love it. And then I suppose when it comes to time, do you ever have an ambition of growing the team behind you as well, like bringing other people on board, maybe some other coaches, and just alleviating some of those hats that you might have to wear moving forward again?
Yeah, or even hiring an external editor. I think you want to be careful about who you bring into the fold early on. Like they should feel like they really identify with your mission, with your why. But I do think that definitely has a future, because I'm but one aging female. And if you want your brand to live on beyond you, that's important.
So true. And from one aging female to the other, it is all about helping people along the way. But it's like trusting your baby. It's something you put a lot of effort into to bring in to make sure those values are really maintained moving forward. So
Yep.
it's like one of those things that's really needed, but I understand it's such a hard challenge to bring on board and just find that right person to trust with everything you've
Right.
done so far. And then when it comes to scaling a business, what would you say is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, that's a really good question, just because we talk to founders all the time too.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I'm going to come up with the best piece of advice like right out the gate, but I think it really is making sure that you test the market and
Mm,
you test multiple market segments, because it might be one that you're lukewarm about that really is the direction that you should scale first, and it's a multifaceted process. It's
interesting.
not just, I think people think this is the way I'm going to grow, but what if they give it more like a tree? What if I need to grow this way first before I grow this way? And the other thing I've heard too is that sometimes people ambitiously bring on, if they get funding, they bring on a team, or they buy a space or rent a space or buy a whole bunch of stuff. And really, that's probably not what you need to do first. So you want to make sure you do that market testing, and then you want to make sure that you're starting to see that growth trajectory before
Yeah.
you expand everything else.
So true. You need a deliverable product before you start obviously adding people
Yeah.
on, whether it be a service-based product or an actual tangible thing, definitely. And then Nancy, as a final question to you, so if you could go back in time, maybe to the start of your own entrepreneurship journey, and you could only leave yourself with one piece of advice moving forward, something you know now but that you didn't know then, what would you say to yourself?
I think just it's okay to fall on your face more. You just want to make sure that you learn to get up quicker and quicker from that.
Yeah.
I think I have always lifelong been like a hesitator and stuck in that pre-contemplation stage, and I still fight that, but like you don't really know until you try. And some of the best advice that I got early on was just like, just keep doing it, just keep going through the feeds and speeds and discard what doesn't work. Let it go through the filter. But it's hard when it feels like it is, as you said, like your baby. You're like, but I can't let my baby fall. But that's how you learn.
It's true. And that's how a baby would learn as well. I know you don't
Yeah,
want to let your baby fall, but you have to let them fall over a little bit sometimes to pick themselves back up again.
right.
Unfortunately, it's the
Definitely.
nature of humanity. And I loved it. Thank you so much, Nancy, for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can
Thank
our
you so
listeners reach
much.
out to work with you, connect with you, and just check out more of the amazing work that you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Starfish Strength across social media and on YouTube. You can look up starfishstrength.com if you're interested in inquiring about a one-on-one personal session. And then you can also find the Founders Voyage podcast wherever you listen to podcasts without an apostrophe. And I noticed that you guys don't have an apostrophe on yours either. Okay. All right.
Founders is a word. I don't know why we don't have. Founders Voyage and Founders Future is where we're at. I love it. Beautiful. And Nancy, thank you so much again for joining us. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go and check out Nancy and check out Founders Voyage. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts while you're at it. So, beautiful
Thank you
stuff.
so much.
Thank you. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from $0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing and we will see you on the next one.